Right, lovely people, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really didn't want to have to make this video, but what I have to say is incredibly vital, and I believe that it is imperative that I get this out there. On Wednesday, there was a session of the Work and Pension Select Committee, at which a member of the committee, Dr. Ben Spencer, the MP for Runnymede and Weybridge, said that he'd been told by a number of disabled benefit claimants about issues that they had faced while undergoing assessments for their benefits. Specifically, they said that they had been covertly assessed, with assessors basically setting traps for them to try and trip them up into failing. For example, one claimant detailed how one of the water coolers in the assessment centre didn't have any cups, and there was another one that did have cups, but it was further away. So the claimant would have to walk to the other end of the room in order to obtain water from the cooler that had cups. The problem with this is the act of walking that far would mean that they had failed their assessment before it even began. Furthermore, there was another claimant who alleged that the lifts were broken at the particular assessment centre that they went to, meaning that they couldn't access the room where their assessment was supposed to take place. Now, I have read that in the past that people have been told that the lifts are not working and they will have to walk up the stairs to their assessment location, which of course they are unable to do, and if they were able to do it, they would likely fail the assessment. The problem is that some people have been told that failing to walk up the stairs, and thereby failing the assessment because they've said they can't walk, which they can't. I mean, I couldn't walk up the stairs. I mean, look, by failing to do that, they would be seen as having not attended the assessment and therefore be sanctioned. I mean, how ridiculous is that? It's like the 17th century English witch trials without the drowning. So, because by saying that people have to walk up the stairs in order to get to an assessment that they then fail because they've walked up the stairs, but then if they don't walk up the stairs, they fail because they are deemed as having not attended. It's basically a no-win situation for the claimant, which, to be honest, I think is exactly the scenario that the DWP are looking for, owing to the fact that as long as people don't get benefits, it saves the department money, which is exactly what they want. And then, of course, with reduced benefit figures, it makes them look good in the eyes of the public, who, particularly the right-wing wankers, who keep going on about scroungers and people who don't want to work. And then, of course, what these people don't understand is that a lot of people just go and appeal the judgments by the assessors, and they end up winning because, unlike private companies, actual judges look properly at evidence, and therefore over 80% of claims were deemed to be upheld by the tribunals, according to a number of sources over the last few years, which is ridiculous because it just shows that the department is wasting more money trying to keep people from getting the money that they are entitled to, all because it looks good to their base, which is actually rather frightening because disabled people are in effect victims of the government trying to govern by headline rather than trying to govern in the interests of actual people which they are supposed to be responsible for. It's ridiculous, and it's utterly fucking repugnant that this is allowed to continue. And the Minister for Disabled People, Chloe Smith, said that of course it wouldn't be acceptable for an assessment centre to have a broken lift, and they will of course look into it. The problem is, I reckon this has actually been going on for a number of years, possibly even dating back to the last Labour government, and they are only concerned about it now because they've got caught, despite the fact that this has been reported numerous times over the last 10 years or so, and not a lot has really been done about it. I'm honestly incredulous with rage about the fact that this has been allowed to happen, and I'm even more angry that the government seems to be ambivalent to the prospect of continual happenings of such events. I mean, it's like disabled people really are being treated as second-class citizens, and they hope that if they just fail us from getting any money, instead of appealing, it'll be so damaging to our mental and physical well-being that we'll just shut up and go away. And unfortunately, for some people, that's exactly what happens, because they just can't take it anymore, because the assessment itself is humiliating and degrading anyway, and the thought of having to appeal is just too much for some people, which is completely understandable. But it's absolutely and utterly vile that this sort of thing is allowed to continue in a supposedly civilized country. But then again, with everything that's been going on here recently, I don't think we get to call ourselves a civilized country anymore. Anyway, I think I've ranted for long enough, but if you like what I'm saying, well, not the content, but if you like the fact that I'm saying what I'm saying and speaking truth to power, you'll get more of it. Specifically, if you follow me on Twitter, @BlokeOnWheels, I'm sure there'll be plenty there that you'll enjoy if you don't follow me there already. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I much appreciate it, and hopefully we can end this discrimination of disabled people by the Department of Work and Pensions, with the first step being to remove the Tory government at the earliest possible opportunity. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one.